Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just a bunch of the DC news that's come out like over the past week, I want to say roughly. Yeah, give it a week or so. And this stuff is pretty varied. It goes from like some Batman stuff to some Green Lantern stuff to some Aquaman stuff to some potential like maybe like what do they call them? The Black Label films, or like the almost like where like the Joker movies are, like movies in that sort of realm, some Green Arrow stuff, and of course Superman Legacy. So there's a bunch of stuff to go over, so let's not waste too much more time. But of course, let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on the stuff we go over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. It takes 2 seconds. So the first thing to go over is probably, I guess, like the biggest thing that happened in the past week, though it's one that came with a lot of confusion to people. And I don't necessarily think you can blame people for being confused. I'm sort of in the area where like I didn't really know too much about it before because I didn't really look into it too much. But this is that the Arkham series that's being developed, so the series within Arkham Asylum, that will obviously deal with the patients in there. Whether you extend beyond Arkham, that's another question. It might just be completely set in Arkham Asylum, I don't know. But that series is going to be actually set in James Gunn's DCU alongside Superman Legacy, Batman Brave and the Bold, Lanterns, Booster Gold, all those things. And previously it was believed that it was actually a part of the Batman universe, like, the Batman from last year? Yeah, I think beginning of last year that movie came out. But apparently it's not, so it's going to be in the DCU. But the weird thing is that this Arkham Asylum series is still going to be developed and produced by Matt Reeves, who's doing the Batman, and, has like the Penguin series and potentially other spin-offs involved there as well. Now, the thing that's confusing to a lot of people that were sort of like, I guess, following it, even though it suggests that they weren't following it as in depth because it wasn't the case, is that, it was initially set up apparently to be within that, the Batman world alongside the Batman, the Penguin and stuff like that. But people have gone back and backtracked, and apparently that's not the case. It actually never really explicitly said that. And James Gunn has said, no, it was, as soon as this was pitched, it was always going to be, in my DCU. It was one of the first things I heard that was like pitched to me when I took over and everything like that. Now the thing is that I think this was a Gotham Police Department series initially, like this is what the series was going to be, and then it transformed into an Arkham series, and that's where the change happened. So the Gotham PD series was going to be set in the Batman universe, and as soon as they squashed that idea and they moved to the Arkham Asylum thing, that's when it shifted to being a part of the DCU. So apparently that's where things changed, but it was sort of lost in translation, when all that stuff was changed as to when it was going to be set. That's apparently where everything happened. That's what James Gunn is sort of suggesting. But the weird thing with this now is that Matt Reeves is producing projects, and I think it's now 3 different universes with Batman. So you have the Batman, which of course has like the Penguin, the Batman 2, whatever else comes out after that. You have this with the Arkham Asylum series in the DCU alongside James Gunn. And then he's also doing the Caped Crusader like animated thing as well. I don't know if there's more, but there's at least 3. So at least 3 different universes that he's dealing with Batman stuff, which is sort of crazy. But with this, like, I would be surprised if we heard too much about this over the next year or so. Like, they definitely want to develop that Batman Brave and the Bold thing first, before they really touch this. And of course, Matt Reeves is still doing the Batman 2. The Penguin's still got to come out. So this Arkham series is still a while away in regards to, I think, any light being shined upon it. But yeah, this was probably the biggest thing of this week. And I guess it just had people confused. But now it's, I guess, clarified for the most part. Another thing that James Gunn said, which I don't know why was surprising to many, because I thought, and I think this is the issue with like some of the social media stuff. I think people ask, I don't want to say stupid questions because I don't think they're stupid, but I think they're like very basic and borderline like pointless. But James Gunn still gives responses to them. And that's the thing. I think he's giving a lot of responses to questions that are like harmless, if not just nothing. It's just like, wouldn't it be obvious that I wouldn't do this? Or wouldn't it be obvious that this is happening? So one thing that was asked was that like, will Guy Gardner's suit in in Superman Legacy, will it be CGI? And I guess Lanterns as well, because apparently he's going to be appearing in that. But specifically for Superman Legacy, is it going to be CGI? And of course, this will be most likely referencing the Ryan Reynolds thing. And he said, no, I don't think I've ever done a CGI suit, and I don't plan on starting it now. And the thing is that like, I guess the person asking this maybe doesn't know too much about Guy Gardner and his design. But Guy Gardner's Green Lantern design is the one that makes like the least sense to do CGI. The other ones, yeah, but his one makes the least sense. It's like a leather, it's like a jacket. It's like a little little, fold over jacket and everything. So I don't know. Once again, as I said, it's like some silly questions being asked. So that's why James Gunn is giving responses to it, because they're harmless. They don't actually spoil anything. It's not like someone's asking, can you tell me the plot twist for Superman Legacy? Can you just hand that out to me? He's not going to give you that, but this is harmless. So it's like, it should be something that you should just assume, I guess. So those seem to be the things he's responding to. Though there are some other things he's responding to, which, I don't want to say help, because it's not the word, but like, once again, like shine a light, I guess, in regards to what they're planning. And one of those things we'll talk about in a second in this video. The next thing to talk about is some stuff revolving around Aquaman 2. Now that comes out, I think tomorrow from when this video will go out. I think tomorrow, at least in America. In Australia, we have another week, or no, just under a week, roughly, until that comes out here. Because we always get movies on Boxing Day or the 26th. It's just a movie day over here, so they'll delay movies coming out so it can release on that day because they make more money on the opening day via that. But anyway, so Aquaman 2 is coming out. There's not a lot of hype around it. They did the weirdest thing I've ever seen, especially with that movie that, the first movie made $1 billion. There was no red carpet for this movie. No red carpet, no anything like that. They did this little small influencer event, and then they uploaded like a video on it. It was really weird and almost a bit sad. Like that was I think that was a lot of like a term I used. A term I saw was sad and weird and unfortunate. Yeah, weird. They had no red carpet, so you don't get the press on the red carpet that this movie's coming out. And Warner Brothers just had, big premieres for Wonka last week, The Color Purple, and I'm sure they'll have another one for any other movies coming out in the next month or two or something like that. So very weird that happened. But anyway, apparently there's one post-credit scene for this film. I was shocked that, I don't want to say shocked, but I was like, oh, okay, post-credit scene. But apparently it's like a jokey one that sort of pays off something in the film. I didn't see what it actually was, like the spoiler, but I saw that like the post-credit scene is like a joke from within the film. So I know there's probably some other examples of that. I guess, I don't know. I'm sure there's some other examples of like running jokes throughout a film that then get paid off in the post-credit scene. And apparently that's what it is. It isn't setting up anything, which would have been surprising if it did. But along with this, Jason Momoa has been doing some interviews and stuff, obviously in regards to promotion for Aquaman 2. And he was asked about Lobo. Now, a lot of people think that he's already like accepted the role or anything like that, but apparently that isn't the case. Because this is what he said. So he clarified that no one has offered him the role of Lobo yet in the DCU, which would most likely be James Gunn if they're going to offer him it. And he said this, I mean, listen, if they call and ask me to play him, it's a F yeah. I haven't received that call, so I don't want to put any fake news out there. But if they ever call me, I'm there. Now, of course, there was that like video last year. Or no, it would have been really early this year. Like we're, in just almost the end of the year. So it would have been like like February or January after like James Gunn took over. And it was like him walking out of the DC offices, very happy and everything like that. And he was like, oh, you don't know what's coming. Like, almost like hinting that, oh, something big's going to happen. So maybe he's just hiding it off and he doesn't want to confirm it now. But we also don't know what's going on with Aquaman going forward. We don't know. So and also if he does Lobo, I think it's like a one movie thing unless they do like a series or something. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there. The next thing that was talked about, and this is coming from Daniel RPK, who's, your standard scooper guy. He seems to be getting more of these things here, so I wonder if he's gotten like a new contact or something, because he really wasn't dropping this much stuff, but who knows. One of these things has been hinted at by other things as well, but apparently there's a Professor Pig and Huntress Films. That's what's being said, Huntress Films. Films for both of them in development reportedly, as I said, coming from Daniel RPK. The Huntress thing had been talked about before, and this is going to be like a Korean Huntress, and they've gotten like a Korean director. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. That's whatever. Street level thing. I'm sure they could do some like sort of like crime boss thing. Bertinelli's. Oh, I doubt it. Well, I guess you could do Bertinelli and, Italian father, Korean mother, half Korean, whatever. Or adopted, obviously. But with the Professor Pig thing, that's interesting to me because I could see that being in the Black Label thing, as I was sort of hinting at earlier in the video, and that could be like in the Joker thing, and Professor Pig could be like a serial killer thing. I think I saw, no, this wasn't like after this news, but I'd seen people talking about it like a couple of months ago that if you did like, they were like thinking of like other Black Label films you could do, like what they did with Joker and using like, I guess mainly Batman villains. That's mainly what they were using. And the people were saying like you could use like Professor Pig and then do it in the style of like Seven by David Fincher, which would fold into sort of maybe working in the Batman world because, I think that was one of the inspirations, at least aesthetically, for that film. Professor Pig, I don't really care too much about the character, but like the idea of like a singular film with like a serial killer aspect, if you want to do that there. I think that sounds pretty interesting. Because it's also a character that, as I said, like, I don't really care for it. Not that many people would care for it, so you can do like a one-off sort of fun thing, and it wouldn't be too high cost either. So that doesn't sound like too much of a bad idea, but it's also a wait and see. Like, you could make it really good, but also it's one of those things that could also be really bad at the same time. Now, James Gunn actually talked about something that's, you know, been used a lot in different films and TV series as of recent, was even used in The Batman. You know, The Batman keeps coming up a lot in this video. And that was the volume, which is like new technology that sort of replaces green screens, and it's like the big panels and stuff, and you can put stuff like, so the Batman used it for like skylines of like Gotham and stuff like that. And he said that they will not be using the volume in Superman Legacy, and that's because these sets are too big and my cameras move too much. Now, I'm not too surprised by this. The only thing I could see them using the volume for potentially is sort of similar to how the Batman used it, and that's just a skyline. You know, especially if you want to do some like sort of, it depends what you want your Metropolis to look like. If it's just going to look like a dupe of like, or a duplicate of like New York City or some other downtown area, then you just film in that downtown area. But if you want to make it look unique, I guess, and a bit different, then you can use the volume, or at least you can control what time of day you film. Like filming at like midday or something, but you need to look at it like, you need the outside to look like 5 or 6 at night, then you can use the volume, or vice versa, or whatever it is. So it allows you to do that, but if you plan properly and everything like that, then I guess you don't need to use it. And the second last thing to talk about in this video is actually some stuff around Green Arrow. And this isn't anything in regards to, oh, James Gunn hints at who Green Arrow is going to be in this DCU or something, but it's more of like something that happened that didn't happen at the same time, if that makes sense. And that's around Charlie Hunnam, who has been a fan cast for Green Arrow for years, like I'd say a decade pretty much. And he actually revealed that he was actually offered Green Arrow. He said, I never talked to Zack Snyder about it. Honestly, I don't remember who. It was some people in suits brought the idea to me and thought it would be terribly exciting for me to play Green Arrow. And I did not share their enthusiasm. I don't know who Green Arrow is, so I don't want to offend anyone. I looked at one picture and I was like, I'm not sure green's my color, and I'm pretty sure spandex isn't my material. Beyond that, I was like, one image, thanks, not interested. And, you know, I'm fine with this. I was sort of over the fan casting. At first, I was like, okay, whatever. But he'd sort of said in other things, it's like, this isn't the first time he's addressed it, but this is the most recent time, obviously, because of the Rebel Moon press tour thing. And he sort of, the last time he sort of said, like, I have really no interest. I'm like, well, if you're not interested, then I don't really want you playing the character either. Green Arrow is my favorite character, so I don't want someone that doesn't really give a crap playing the character. So I'm fine with him not playing it. I don't know who they're going to cast. I'm sure there's a plethora of like, whether they go comic accurate looks wise or whatever within Hollywood. So that's a wait and see. I don't know how soon Green Arrow is going to be appearing in James Gunn's DCU. But I wouldn't mind it sooner rather than later. But Arrow just ended after like, 8 seasons or whatever it was, only a handful of years ago. So, but that shouldn't be too much of an excuse not to do it. But yeah, fingers crossed they do it right, at least when they get it done. And the final thing is just about some other sort of, we're talking about like Professor Pig and Huntress and maybe them being Black Label films or whatever you want to call them. And James Gunn actually said some stuff about Vertigo titles. So someone asked him on Threads. He seems to use Threads a lot, which I don't like. But anyway, someone asked him on Threads, like, do you have any like plans for like live adaptations of like these, other comics? And he goes, yes, for sure. Some non-DC Vertigo and other titles we are working on. So I don't know, once again, how high on the list they would be, because these also can be hard things to sell. Like, you'd probably do a lower budget thing potentially with them, or similar to like what he's done with the Authority to an extent, depending on how much you fold in, you could do like non-DC Vertigo titles, but fold them into the world at the same time. It sort of depends. It depends how well you can sell it just on its own thing, or if it has to fold into a larger universe, who knows? Depends on the audience, of course. But I think these are things that maybe work better to be like TV series rather than films. Just because of the track record with them actually being able to work as TV series, rather than a film where, the budget just ends up being higher, compared to a TV show, at least in regards to like the risk involved. So I could see them more being TV shows, but maybe there could be one or two that could turn into films if like the idea is good enough there. And also if there's maybe like award potential, similar to like what happened with Joker as well. But that's a wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts and stuff we went over. Always curious to where you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.